The National Youth Policy seeks to empower the youth by creating an enabling environment and providing projects that can fully develop young people's quality of life. Recently, there have been calls to review this policy according to young people's priorities and values. Today on Corridor 292, I am joined by Advocate Mkhokheli Mangaba to discuss how the National Youth Policy can be amended to suit young people's needs. I'm your host, Lungile. Welcome, Advocate Mangaba. May you introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you very much. My name is Mkhokheli Mangaba, also known as Advocate Mangaba, because of the works that I am doing in the society and the community, the founder of Umlomo Wabantu, the mouth of the Black Nation, Mromo Webano. Yes.
All right. So, like I said, recently there have been calls to amend the National Youth Policy, obviously because it has been failing young people in representing young people's needs. So, because of that, how do you think it has been failing to address young people's concerns and issues?
It has been failing to a large extent because we're always going on a merry-go-round cycle. If everything was going well, we were never going to have this review. First of all, it's not serving the interests of the youth. It's not serving the values of the youth, because each and every day we are realizing more and more people are leaving the industries, going to the street. More and more youth are becoming vendors. More and more youth are becoming useless citizens to an extent which they have lost their identity, who they are, what do they stand for. If the policy was making good things, which means we were going to be moving in a positive direction, it is exactly the opposite of what is on paper and what is on practicality. You want to see things happening on the ground, not on the tables and chairs. It's now becoming like a talk show. More than that, forum is supposed to construct things that make the nation move forward, especially targeting the 37% of these citizens of Zimbabwe, the youth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if everything was going well, there was never going to be a need for us to go on a review. Mm-hmm. Everything about the youth policy, 99.9%, I can say is wrong.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's talk about the objectives of the youth policy.
Yes.
Maybe if I could just mention one of them,
yes.
One or two of them. The first one is to empower youth to participate and contribute to the socio-economic development of the nation. The second one is to develop a coordinated response and participation by all stakeholders in the development and empowerment of the youth.
Yes.
To instill in youth a clear sense of national identity and respect for national principles and values. And lastly, it's to promote the health of young people and develop youth-oriented healthcare. So looking at all those four objectives,
yes,
how applicable are they in addressing young people's concerns right now?
First of all, they are easier said than done. And secondly, they are nice when you are reading them, but putting them on the ground is bitter to everyone. On the first thing that you said, on the social economic development of the nation, yes, they recognize that there is a need to engage the youth. But are we engaged? Are we part of that? That is my question. Are we part of that? We are not part of that. Partially, we can say, because of course they wrote something on paper, they're saying the youth can be involved. But how involved are we? We are not. Secondly, there is this issue to develop a coordinated response and participation by all stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? The youth and the government. These are the stakeholders. Before we even mention the NGOs, we are mentioning the youth and the government. These stakeholders, are they married or they are divorced in ideas? First of all, and then going down, we've got this thing called clear sense of national identity. What is a clear sense of national identity to a youth of Zimbabwe? What is a clear sense of national identity to the person who's in the parliament of Zimbabwe? Do they correspond? And when I'm going down, it's saying to promote the health of young people and develop youth. Yes, they may be promoting health, but mental health is also considered as health. Are we mentally stable? Are we psychologically stable? In this situation, we are not. So we're not healthy. We can't say we're healthy. Yes, we're not in Mpilo or Central Hospital, but we are not healthy. So we can divide these things according to their goals and objectives. And their objectives, some of them are different from us. The youth have got their own objectives. Our aim is to get employed. Our aim is to start our own businesses. But at the end of the day, the message that is being taught to the youth, go and start your own thing. Come to think of it, 37%, everyone becoming a vendor. 37%. Who will buy from whom? Slowly by slowly, we're bringing this corrosive thing that will corrode the genius mind of the young people. They will lack creativity because they are so stressed of starting a business. Projects that don't even lead us to anywhere. Doing detergents. Go to Pumula, same thing. Go to Nkulumani, same thing. Go to Chabalara, same thing. Are we moving forward? No. Why can't we divide a place by place? We say, you focus on this, you guys focus on this, you guys focus on this, and then we have a table where you can share everything. Then bringing the same project to the other place that we've brought them. Right now, they are going around bringing people to those to those forums. Do they yield anything? No, because they are not seeing anything in us. We are already tired. Youth are dedicated on occupying the opposite grounds on whatsoever is being passed on them. I was so concerned by the turnout of the youth that day. There were few youths. Because it was divided, others went to ZITEZW. There was a youth in tourism forum, a meeting, conference there, that was addressed by the First Lady. But there was no dignitary in Hlatlandlela. There was nobody from the higher offices to listen to our cries. There were no cameras recording, documenting that thing down, which means everything was not serious. The way, the place on its own, the atmosphere was not that good. It showed like they were not even serious. They are not concerned about us. What they want is to make some forums, loot money. We don't know how was that catering team even given the tender. That tender was supposed to be given to the youth like us to develop the youth from the community. That place was supposed to be decorated by the youth of the community. But at the end of the day, they import all these things. Then they claim, we want to make a policy. We want to review. Who are those people making the policy? And then I can tell you surely, most of them are above 35 years. Are they youth? They're not. But why are they addressing the youthful issues when they're above 35?
Yeah.
Their time came and is gone. Yeah. It's now our time.
Exactly. So from what you're saying, I see that you're very passionate about this thing. Yes. How can young people be taken serious? You're talking about how the event was,
yes,
young people were divided.
Yes.
They didn't know where to go to.
Yes.
They didn't know whether they should go for the review,
yes,
or they should go for the tourism
yes,
event. So how can they be taken serious so that every young person, if it's possible, in Bulawayo can be represented and go for one same thing?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to bring this challenge to each and every young person there. No one will sort our matters without us, first of all. We don't need to be pushed to those places. We need to be demanding those forums. How can they bring us to those things? The way they spread the message. When I received the message, it was written the meeting was going to be held at Drill Hall. But later on, it moved to Mkhokheli. How many people were aware of that? I was shocked by the turnout of Mashonaland. the youth were there. But Matabeleland youth, with our youth, they were not there. They have to understand it. This is not about a certain party. This is about the development of this nation. That includes us. Let us do away with our differences. Do away with tribal lines. Do away with these fights that we have been fighting for and focus on one thing, building something that will sustain the youth. First of all, kill this thing, this animal called you are from this part, from that part. We are all citizens of this country. My question today to the youth, are you concerned about your tomorrow? If you are, move from those other people who call them bigger politicians who claim to represent you, but they don't have youth, positive youth, working youth in their structures. It's high time as the youth, we bring our own group. We say we're the youth, we're potential voters. Your vote have got your value. So show that by attending these things. How many people did you hear about the youth policy? How many people do you have the youth policy in hard copy? How many people do you have the youth policy in soft copy? The importance of the constitution of the state is the same importance that the youth policy bears. Because that is our constitution as the youth.
Yeah. So let's take a short break and we'll be back to discuss more about how the National Youth Policy can be amended to suit young people's needs. This is Code 0292 and I'm your host, Lungile. Welcome back to Code 0292. I'm Lungile, and I'm still with Advocate Mangaba. We are discussing how the National Youth Policy can be amended to suit young people's needs. So before the break, we were talking about the National Youth Policy and the issues that we discussed during the meeting of the review.
Yes.
So right now, I want us to really dig deep into what young people actually want from the National Youth Policy, how it can represent their needs and their concerns. What are the issues that came out from the meeting?
Well, there were a number of issues. Some of them were questioning the way the parliament is run. How old is one eligible to be an MP? How old is one eligible to be a councillor? How old is one eligible to be a minister? Those were some of the issues. And the people, I understand the youth wanted to do away with the whole council of Zimbabwe. We want to re-elect people who want what is wanted by the youth. From the very top office, we want someone who's vibrant. We want to do away with these people who have been failing us. We want new faces with new ideas. I believe they have seen the errors that have been done by their predecessors. So we want to do away with that first. If we construct a proper board that represents the values, because our values differ from the values of the state somehow. We've got to marry the two. We've got to marry the two, do away with the board. Secondly, have a clear sense. Let's go back to the Constitution. We are so concerned about that Constitution. Because I understand people who are youth now, when the Constitution was made, back then, they were not youth. They were still young. They were not eligible to partake in the Constitution. But now they are what? They are eligible. So their ideas need to be added. So what must be done? Let's go back to the Constitution and look at those things on the Parliament. They were also crying about the quota system in the Parliament. the full representation of the youth. We feel like we don't have anyone that was representing us. We don't feel like we are being represented. With the youngest, who is there, is 33. The youngest, only one is a lady, only one. But the rest, 37%, are potential leaders. So let's first deal with the board of Zimbabwe's Youth Council and go to the parliament and cry to the president and say, realize what the youth want. Let's formulate things. That is what we want to be amended first. Before we talk about everything, because the foundation is gone beneath us. We want to talk about the grassroots. First, do away with the World Council. From the country level, district level, provincial level, on this level, we put new people who are not in there for the money, but there as servants. And the next, we are going to the presidential office. Ask for a certain percent in the parliament. Because I felt something. There's something called the junior parliament. It focuses on high school children. You get it? There's something called the main parliament that focuses on the elder people. The youth, where is the youth parliament? There is no youth parliament. We need the youth parliament. There is high school parliament, that is high school. They haven't faced the problem that we're facing is all over. Is those who are not working. We need our own parliament. And that is, we want a parliament that is non-partisan. Our own parliament that we have our own president, the youth president. We have the main president. We have got our own cabinet ministers. And then we vote for people that we want. That is what we want.
Yeah. All right. So according to the 2018 youth policy, the one that is in existence right now,
yes,
it's meant to ensure that young people reach their full potential,
yes,
and become active participants,
yes,
in society. And from what you say, do you think that's what's happening right now?
No, no. From what I'm saying right now, it's not. It's not. It's written on paper. We want them to be fully participating, but are we participating?
So what is the problem?
The problem now, we have got this fear that has been instilled in us. Let's say today we make a youth meeting. A neutral youth meeting at a certain place, we meet, we talk. We are discussing the issues of the state. The next thing, you hear the police knocking the door. You are arrested because you're making an assembly. I asked them the question that day. Are we allowed to make our own organization? They say yes. They said what? Yes. And another thing that I feel like is not happening, this fear issue must be done with. We mustn't be afraid. They must stop instilling fear on the youth. Because youth are feeling like once you are questioning something that is there in the policy or in the constitution, you're taken as an opposition. No. Let us learn to appreciate each other on our differences. What is supposed to be done is simple. People must be heard and something must be done. Thank you. Our government of today have given us the platform to talk. But after we talk, do they do something? Or they just talk? Let's just give them the platform. They will talk and then we do nothing. Because I feel like we're going to be comfortable saying, no, we're given the free will of expressing ourselves. What is going to be done after that? That is my question to people. What is going to be done? There is nothing so far that I can say have been good for the youth. Yes, there are projects there and there, but are they doing anything? If they were doing something big, then this day was going to be invalid. There was never going to be this interview, which means something is lacking. It's an indication that something is lacking.
So what should young people do in order for them not to be scared, not to fear? Because the way you're talking, it's like they are intimidated.
Yes, they're intimidated.
What should they do? Especially for those who are not scared, like some of you guys who come out, who speak out.
Yes.
How can you help your other brothers and sisters and your friends and your peers?
We have been trying.
Yeah.
Honestly, we have been trying, but I still feel like we're not doing enough. We are not doing enough because next thing we call for a meeting at a hall, people don't even come there. Now there's this issue, the cyber bill that has been passed. People are now afraid to send their messages, expressing the way they feel. That will come back to the youth again. You get it? So I feel like the young people must know their rights first. Let me tell you this once. Get me right. The Constitution is not there to give us rights. The Constitution is there to recognize our rights. Do you get it? Mm-hmm. So the youth must know they've got the freedom of assembly. They can choose not to partake. They can choose to partake. But this time, what we can simply do, let's come in one voice, speak in one voice, denounce what is wrong. Mm-hmm. We are open, we are there. You can contact us anytime, even at night. If you feel like something must be done in your constituency, whether your councillor is not doing enough, whether your MP is not doing enough, please feel free to question. Mobilize the youth. The problem with us, we don't have the right approach. Let us stop being aggressive and extremist. Let us go down and consult the right people. Say we've got a problem with our councillor. We've got a problem with our MP. Then we draft it down. We approach the person in a rightful manner, in a neutral manner. Because I feel like the youth first, they've got to do away with tribal lines. I felt it that day. I felt the pinch of tribal lines. I felt the pinch of saying your surname is this, your surname is that. The youth were so concerned about the recruitment of nurses, the recruitment of police, the recruitment of army, that we were so concerned about that one. Because we still felt like at the same time, sorry for bringing this, they felt like a certain tribe is overriding other tribes. That is how they felt. And they were also concerned about this thing. Every youth that is creative is being recruited to the army. We're losing a lot of people with potential. Because once they go there, there's a certain way of doing their thing. They can't come back to us. We've lost many potential people. We've lost brothers and sisters going and joining the defense forces. Not saying they are wrong, but that is the only source that we have now. Mm-hmm. Once the youth learn to speak out in one voice, it's not time. We cannot protest on the street, but there's a way of protesting. Write down your things. Write down your issues. Right now, I was pushing an initiative of writing a billboard or a board that will be there at the CPD, where everyone goes and write the complaints that they have. Whether they put it in the suggestion box, we put it everywhere everyone can see that we want to achieve this as the youth. We want to achieve this as the youth. Mm-hmm. Because one thing for sure, first, we are all divided. Mm-hmm. We are divided. Some are afraid of these things, they are afraid of politics. Politics is not wrong. We are the future leaders. Let us understand, let's come together. What needs to be done? Come together, crying in one voice. Once we come in mass, that is good for us.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, from what you're saying, which are the beneficial youth programs do you think that can be implemented by either the government or the private sector for the youth?
There are a lot. There are a lot. They have been trying projects like re-engaging with these called youth centers, equipping youth with some certain skills of decorating, catering. But I feel like let's kill the mind of being employed. And let's kill the mind of going around selling mapoti only. The only innovative thing that we have managed to do is to mix mapoti with mazambane. Don't we have other things to do? Can't we bring other better things? Let us be given a place where we can do our own original. We are tired of seeing these dance groups. What is supposed to be done? Entrepreneurship skills. There's this question that we had. One thing that's supposed to be done. Their youth want to proceed with their academics, go to tertiary education, but they don't have the money. Mm-hmm. And the Constitution says education must be for free. And there's something that I liked. The ex-combatants, the women's side, our liberators. I respect them. They have cried to the First Lady, asking for a school where they will be educated. Because during the time of the war, they didn't get the time of being educated. Yes. Why can't we, as the youth, cry in one voice and ask for government grants? Mm-hmm. And say, there are some of us who want to go to universities. There are some of us who want to proceed with their education. Not only ladies, not only men, all of us. If we can push that, if we can say, we want those grants back, then that would be okay. And another thing that I'm concerned with, there is no school of leadership. That is in Bulawayo. I don't know in other provinces. Where we are grooming potential leaders, not those who emerge from nowhere, and then they are allocated a certain chair. You are a minister of what? We want people that we know about. Yeah. We want records, not promises. The problem with the youth policy, it have always brought promises. But look at the records. It's a zigzagging thing. We don't know where we are going. We're still puzzled. Are we even here as the youth? Or it's just a forum where we just go there, eat the monies that are there, and then nothing is to be done. Mm-hmm. We're very concerned.
Yeah. All right. So I think from what you have said, it's been quite a lot to process.
Yes.
And I'm sure that we won't be able to finish everything in one interview.
Yes.
We definitely can't.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Advocate Mangaba, for coming for this program. Yes. It was really fruitful. And thank you for watching Code 0292. From me, Lungile, it's bye for now. See you next week.